What's going on, team? We're going to be doing field assembly utilizing our neon blaze. Okay, this is our neon blaze side bend. We also have a neon blaze top bend. Everything that I'm about to show you is synonymous with the top bend, so it's the same process. It's just a slightly different form factor for the actual neon blaze. So let's get into it. We're going to start with our material list. So you should have a pre-cut section of neon blaze side bend. Okay. You should have a box of silicone here, so it will come in a box like this. It will look like this, okay? So I'll pop that right over here, get the box out of the way here. You should have a plug-in driver, okay, that has a female DC connector. Just note, this is not standard. We are just using this to make it easy for you to be able to plug it in. Usually this would be bare wire. It wouldn't be a plug-in driver, but for the sake of the module, we're going to keep it simple. We're going to have what is our 6-inch connector. So this is where we're going to jump both runs of neon blaze after we cut it into each other. What is unique about neon blaze compared to most silicone-based products out there, take the linear flex as an example. Linear flex, you can terminate in the field, so trim it down, but you cannot actually jump it into another run. Neon blaze is unique and rare in the industry because you can take one section and actually jump it into the next section, okay? So we're also going to have our straight wire connector right here. So we're gonna have a straight wire connector right here. This is gonna be using a female DC as well here, so this way you can then connect it in. And then we're also going to have 2 extra sets of end caps, okay, which are really our top caps, and then also the smaller ones here that are our end caps. You should have a 3rd top cap inside of your 6-inch jumper, okay? So you should have 3 top caps and then 1 smaller end cap. All right, also one last thing you should have as a tool here is a PVC cutter, and I'll explain why this matters and much easier to cut silicone-based products using this tool. And then we'll have sent you a diode LED screwdriver. You'll see where we use it in this. We're actually not going to screw anything down. It's just going to help us be able to lift away the plastic from the copper to be able to make that straight wire entry. Just note though, this is reversible. For this module, I'm going to want you to keep it with the flathead side. It will be a lot easier. All right. So let's get some of our stuff out of the way to start. So we're going to keep our PVC cutters nearby. We're going to get the silicone out of the way for now. We'll have our plug-in driver nearby. Okay, we're going to get the 6-inch jumper, get that out of here for now. What we're going to do here is get our top caps and end caps ready. So we're going to empty this bag. You'll notice here with this, there's going to be the bottom side, and then the top side is clear. This is so that the light will shine through the actual top cap. Okay, so you'll have 1 set of top caps. Puts it over to the side. You'll have another set of top caps, okay? And then you'll also have the end caps. Similar design with the clear on the top for the light to come through it. It's just a little bit smaller for the very end of this run, okay? Also, we are going to get the other end cap just ready out of the 6-inch connector. So the 3rd top cap will be there. We need 3 top caps for this module and that 1 end cap. Also, there's going to be this bag, and it's going to be 4 spacers, and this is what we call these, are clear spacers, and I'll explain what these are meant for. So let's get these ready to go, though. Just don't lose them. So I'm going to pop them out of the bag, get rid of the bag, and pull this to the side. I'm going to have 1 of them ready to go for my first straight wire entry. I'm going to get rid of the 6-inch for now, put it over to the side. I'm going to bring in 1 of my top caps to get that ready, okay, and then I'm going to have my straight wire connector with the female DC on. So we'll pull this out of the bag. All right, so I want you to notice a couple things here. So you can see it very close up. You can see on the actual edges here, there's going to be these lines of copper, lines of copper, lines of copper. Those are our cut points. Neon blaze has cut points every 2 inches. Okay, now notice really close up here, there's going to be in the middle of this copper, let's just say we're going to cut this right down the middle. Notice how there's a little black square or dot right in the middle of that copper line. Okay, that is where we're going to cut. So pretty much you're cutting halfway through the copper, but the black little dot helps you notice where the actual middle of that cut point is. All right? Another thing I want you to notice is that there is a left side and a right side to this as well, okay? So if you are looking, so in your view, if you are looking at the neon blaze, okay, the side that has the cut points on, okay, the polarity is going to go from left to right on your view, okay? So if it's backed around like this, that's not good. You want it to be like this, going left to right. So for me, I'm going to do it backwards because I'm on this side. So I'm going to have the actual the side of the copper facing me, so I'll know that I'm going to bring my straight wire entry into this side. Okay, so this is where it's going to get a little tricky with neon blaze. All right, so one, we need to be able to use this spacer to cover the actual LED tape light in there. So this is allowing us that when we put silicone on here, if we were going to do an outdoor application, today we're going to treat this like we're doing this on the interior, so we're not going to use silicone just for the day, but I just wanted you to still have the silicone around if you want to play around with it. But this allows you, if water gets in there a little bit or silicone, this spacer is going to block it from seeping into the LED diodes, which is where we don't want it to seep in. We don't want it to damage. Okay, so I want you to notice something here. Okay, so take this here. So you can see here I have the outside of the silicone, okay, and then I have the inside of the silicone right here, okay, and then you can see there's this little big space right here. Okay, there's this big space right here, and inside of there is where the LED tape light is. So I'm going to try to show this best I can. Notice on this spacer, see it this way, notice how there is a side that is a little bit, comes off to the right. You can see it kind of comes off to the right. So what we're going to want to do here is, I show you this way right here, okay. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to try to figure out how to show this the best way. Let's do it this way. See how now the actual big side is coming to this side, so to my right or your left. Obviously, the gap right here is on the right side here. So I'm going to push this right in. So you can see here, right, that the L is coming out this side. There's this big gap right here. So then we're going to do this. We're going to push it down in. And now notice it, how it covers now that large gap. Okay, so that is what the spacer is doing. It's protecting the silicone or anything from seeping into the LED diodes. Okay, so now to the next hard part is just like other silicone-based products, there is usually going to be a plastic film. So it will be this. I'll give you an example here, right? It will be silicone, okay, the plastic film, and then the copper. Okay, now when we take this straight wire entry, you can see obviously it has metal here, okay? We need that to actually make contact with the copper. So what the plastic film is doing, silicone, plastic film, and then the copper, is the plastic film is blocking this from hitting the silicone and deteriorating the silicone and burning it up. Okay, so what you really want to do is you want to get this in between the plastic film and the copper. Okay, what people make the mistake is they go on the other side of the plastic. So now the plastic is blocking the connector, okay, from the actual copper, so it won't actually light up. So this is why I wanted you to have a screwdriver, okay, so that you have that flat head. So you're going to use the flat head side, and you're going to start from the bottom, okay? You're going to start from the bottom, and you're going to use like the edge right here, the little pointy part right here, and you're going to kind of loosen it up. Okay, and you can see it there. So I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to really space it out so you can actually see it. You can see that gap between the plastic and the copper. Okay, so now that you know where it's at, now you can take your straight wire connector. Okay, and notice when I'm going to put it in there, this part right here, the little plastic part, is going to go on the top. The two little connector parts are going to go on the bottom. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to straighten this wire out so it's out of the way. I'm going to do the same thing I did, the same technique as the flathead screwdriver. I'm going to use the bottom side of this, and I'm going to start working it up from the bottom up like this. So now I'm in there, and boom, I'm going to make my connection. So it will look like this. Okay, look like this. You can see it from the bottom view. Okay, so now we've actually made our connection. Okay, so like everything that we teach, before we go and we put on the top cats, now this is an indoor installation. Okay, and I'm going to show you on one of the other top caps how you would do an outdoor installation with the silicone. But still, by snapping these on, it would not be really fun and be a kind of a lot of extra labor if it doesn't turn on. You'd have to take these top caps off. They're kind of difficult to do. So we always want to test it. So we're going to bring in our plug-in driver. Boom. I went with a static green color for this neon blaze sideband just because of our elemental LED colors. You can see it's turned on. We are good to go. So we're going to unplug it. Okay. And so here's how it's going to work here. So I'm going to do it from this view. Okay. So you can see that this is for the bottom and this is for the top. The best trick is to start with the bottom side. And I'm going to show you here what this is going to look like. So I'm going to flip this upside down so you can see it easily. I'll come closer to the camera. Okay. So I want you to notice something here. See this little groove right here, okay? So see how right here, there's this little rounded part. So you're going to come from underneath, and what you're going to do is you're going to line up that first on that groove. You can see it here. You're lined up on the groove, okay? Then you can now pop it on, okay? So now the bottom part's on, and I'll show you here. From the side view, you can see how it's actually on that little groove, okay? So then you're going to do the same idea, okay, with the top part, the clear part. So you're going to take this rounded little part here. I'll flip it up this way. You're going to start by hitting that groove. You can see it there. I'm inside of that groove.
Hold, please. Hold it back up there. There you go, right there. All right.
Okay, you can see that I'm inside that groove. So now I can pop down. Okay, now usually in the field, you would use a small hammer and you would hammer it down. Okay, so if you're at home, we didn't want to have to ship out hammers. If you have a hammer, you can use it, or you can use a little bit of gravity and pop it down like this, and now you've made this nice, really tight connection. Okay, so now we brought in our straight wire. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to cut this in half though. Okay, the reason why we didn't do it at first is we wanted to make sure the entire run connected. So if you had a large spool of this, you want to make sure that the entire thing is not damaged. So obviously we have unplugged it from the low voltage. It's not on anymore. Do not cut this when it's on. Okay, I want to be very clear about that. Do not cut it when it's on. Okay, so you'll have PVC cutters like this. You also can use scissors or a gate cutter. This is just best practices. So if we didn't ship this out for some reason, go grab some scissors. It's the same concept. Okay, but what you'll do, if you do have these PVC cutters, you'll take this off so that it opens up. Okay, and so the way PVC cutters work is you'll take the handle right here, pop it, so now that it's open. Okay, so the best way, a trick I can show you is I like to do this. I like to keep it on the actual table and get it a little closer where it's ready to go so that you don't have to do as much cranking when you're going to cut it. Okay, so I'm going to try to show this the best I can. We're going to cut this straight in the middle. There's 7 cut points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I'm going to cut it right in the middle here, and you're going to see here that it is going to be right on that actual black line. Okay, so I'm going to get it ready, and you're going to want the blade on the top side, not on the bottom side, okay? And then I'm going to come in here, and you can see I'm going to line it up on that actual square, and I'm going to make sure that I'm straight. So really quickly, there we go. So, and I'm going to start cranking down a little bit more, and I'm going to make a nice, clean cut. You can see there, it's nice and even. It's not crooked, okay? So I'm going to get these ready to jump in. Take the PVC cutters out of the way. And so what we're going to do here is it's the exact same concept, all right? So you're going to have your spacers nearby. So I'm going to grab another spacer here. Okay, the same concept as I showed you earlier, right? There is going to be a little edge that comes out to the side. All right? And so what we're going to do is I'm going to showcase this again. So as you see it here, you can see that the gap, okay, the little big gap here, is right here on this side, okay? That's that large gap here. Actually, here we go. Sorry, there we go. That's where it's at. There we go. So here we go. On your guys' right side, okay? And you can see the tape light in there. The LED diodes, you see it? Okay, so that's why we want to protect it. So on this, in your view, okay, I'm going to take the little spacer, okay, and I'm going to have it where the edge of it, you can see it there, is going to go this way since the gap is on that side, okay? So I'll showcase this as slow as I can. I'm going to pop it into the gap, okay? You can see it there, and I'll show it. You just push it down, and now it actually covers that gap, okay? So now we're going to take our 6-inch connector, get it out of the bag here. So I want to show that there is a left side and a right side. You will know what one works and what doesn't. So let me see if I can find the wrong side and show you how it looks. That is, I think, the wrong side. There we go. So I would still go through the film and the copper. Okay, you can see that there. All right, and then notice how when I go to try to connect it, okay, it doesn't fit. Okay, because that plastic part is on this side and the hole where it needs to go in is on the other side. So what you would do is just boom, switch it around, okay? And we'll do this again here. If I do it the right way, let me flatten out my wire here. So we're going to take right here, the bottom side edge here, okay? And we're going to do the same thing we did last time. We're going to work from the bottom up and get in between that plastic and that copper, okay? And boom, we're going to pop it in. You'll see now that it actually fits the right way, okay? Show that connection again. All right, you're good to go. So now we're going to take another top cap. Right, another top cap. And I'm going to switch this around since I'm right-handed. Get these out of the way here. Okay, and so it's the same idea here. So coming from the bottom up, I always like to start on the bottom side. Remember, there's that rounded part right here. Okay, and then there's this part right here that you're going to want to line it up on. Okay, right there. That's the sweet spot. Okay, so I'll come from underneath. I'll kind of tip it in first, get it lined up. Okay, now that I have it lined up, boom, I will pop it onto the bottom side. Okay, then I'll do the same thing for the top side. Okay, I'll bring in the top cap. Okay, I will kind of angle it in first. Angle it in, hitting that little groove. Okay, and then you're going to, boom, pop this on. Okay, and again, if you don't have a hammer at home, you can just use gravity, and you're going to pop it on, and it's going to make a nice, snug connection. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to jump it in to our next run of Neon Blaze. Okay, the same concept again. So we will grab another spacer here. You can see here, I'm going to make sure that everything looks good here. I'm going to move the LED diodes a little bit over so that that gap, you can see it right there. Again, that gap. Just want to really emphasize this just because this is definitely the most difficult part. So coming from your view here, I'm going to make sure you guys can notice that it's pointing this way, that L, okay? So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to pop it into that gap, okay? You can see it there. Flipped around here just to give you a couple different views, okay? And then I will sit here and I will pop it in. Now it's actually covering those LED diodes. So for the last connection for the top caps, we're going to practice and act like this was an outdoor application. So indoors, people do use Neon Blaze all the time on the indoors. You do not have to use silicone. Okay, we strongly suggest it though for outdoors. So there's a couple philosophies on this. What we're going to do here is take these top caps. This is going to be your third and last top cap here. Okay, and what we're going to do here is there's kind of two philosophies here. I believe that our connectors are very, very, very strong, so you don't need to use a lot of silicone. Some people do believe, though, that you should really put a lot of silicone in here, okay? So you can go like this and really just dab it, and I'll show you here in just a second what it looks like, okay? So that's kind of what I like to do, just a little bit of it. Some people like to pour a lot more in there. So I'm going to stage my bottom cap over here. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. I don't like to put a lot on the top side one because it's clear. You can see a little bit of it. Okay, so I still, though, sometimes put a little bit in there since it's outdoor. Okay. Boom. Okay, so I put it both in there. So what we're going to do here, right, is, again, we want to make sure that the copper is facing out, okay, or towards me when I do this, okay, so that now the polarity is going straight through. And what you're going to do is the same idea here, right? You already put that little spacer in there. So since I'm right-handed, I'm going to pull this around, okay? And I'm going to sit there, and from the bottom up, okay, the bottom up, I'm going to work it from the bottom up here. So I'm going to sit there and make sure I get it spaced out. Sometimes it's a little tricky because the plastic is really attached to the copper. Hopefully you can see it from your angle, okay? And so now I've gotten it in. I'm going to make my connection, okay? Now before, like everything, we want to make sure that it turns on before we put those top caps on, okay? So I'm going to turn it around, bring in, there you go. If they both light up, you have jumped Neon Blaze. You're on your way to becoming a professional installer. All right, so we're going to take it off, turn it back off for a second. We have just a couple last sections here, okay? So what we want to do now is we want to put the last top cap here, and then we'll do the end cap at the end. Okay, so we want to start again from the bottom. So I'm going to work it this way and showcase it. I'm going to try this out lefty. So you see that ring right here? That's where we want to line up. So we're going to tilt it in, and we're going to make that line up first, and then we're going to pop it on from the bottom side. Okay? Okay, nice good connection. Then we'll come up from the top side here. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing here. So you'll see that ring there. You'll line it up. Make sure that it's on correctly. Okay, we're lined up here. You can see, though, it's just not snapped down yet. So, again, if you don't have a hammer, just pop it down. Good to go. Okay, last section here. We're almost there. So, we're not going to act like this is an outdoor installation for the end, so we're not going to put silicone in here. So, if you notice, though, there is going to be, on both of them, there's going to be the side that has no opening. That's obviously going to be at the very end of the Neon Blaze. And then there's also going to be the side that will go into the Neon Blaze. That's actually opened, okay? So we're going to do the same idea, though. We're going to start with the bottom, okay? See how the open side is going to be facing in. So open side facing in, okay? Snaps on really easily. You can see it there, okay? Making sure it's all the way on. And then again, we're going to put the open side facing in, okay? Should make a nice little easy connection. Pop it on, you're good to go, okay? So again, we'll light it up one more time to make sure that everything's looking good. And you should have 2 runs of Neon Blaze connected with a 6-inch jumper with straight wire entry. This is the unique capabilities of Neon Blaze, being able to not only make field cuts in the field, in the exterior environment, but then being able to actually terminate it or jump it into another run and then terminate it at the end.